Hey, fight fans, welcome back to Carlo Prusa MMA. Today, I am joined with one of the newest UFC fighters. He is Mr. Bogdan Grad. Bogdan, you were on fighting on the Contender series a couple weeks ago. You took on Michael Aswell. Definitely the fight of the night, in my opinion. Amazing contest, hard, 3 round, 15-minute contest. You're able to pick up the decision victory. Has it set in? Has it sunk in that you are now officially a UFC fighter?
Hello, everybody, and thank you, Carlo, for that interview. No, to be honest, I can't believe it yet. Sometimes I'm looking at the videos that are online, and there are some tears coming, and I realize a little bit, but no, I can't believe it now.
You know, that fight, I mean, it was absolutely unbelievable. Everyone watching it absolutely freaking out. I mean, you guys fought at such a high pace for 15 minutes. I mean, both of you guys took your share of punishments, knockdowns, hard shots. I mean, the fight had everything. Did you expect him to be that tough going into it?
I knew that Michael is very, very tough. I went in there with the thought that I'm gonna finish him in the first minute, but also I was also ready to fight the whole fight, and yeah, that happened.
In there, I mean, you landed some really good shots clean. I think you knocked him down once. Did you see any points in there where you thought you could have finished him earlier?
No, no, and the main reason was that I was stiff. Stiff like a board, like Connor said. uh, I think that was 40% of that what I can do. I mean, we can say whatever we want, but for me it was the UFC contract, or I'm gonna end my career, because I said it before. I'm not gonna fight somewhere in Europe, just middle level, like some other organizations, and it was a lot of pressure. So this is why I couldn't perform at my fullest. But now the pressure is gone. I have my contract. I'm in the UFC, and now I can really enjoy it and perform.
You know, after the fight was over, when you were waiting for the judge's decision, at that point, did you feel like you did enough? Did you in your head think that you won the fight?
Uh, to be honest, I thought after the first round that I lost the round. After the second, I thought the same, but my coaches told me, "Hey, I think we have the first 2 rounds." And after the third round was finished, I just uh, went to the ref and waited. I had no expectation, but my feeling was maybe it was not enough.
You know, then obviously after the fight, Dana White announced that both of you guys were going to get a contract. After the fight was over, before you even went in the back and you waited, you talked to Dana as you were leaving the cage. What did he tell you in that moment?
I went to Dana and said to him, at first I said thank you for the second chance to be there after the knockout last year, and I told him I'm always going for the finish, and I can do much better than that. And he said, no, wait, listen to me. You both get the contract, you both get the win, the show and win money, and a bonus. So it was a great conversation, and I feel very honored to be in that spot.
So you already knew at the end of the show when everyone fought, when everyone was sitting in the chairs, you already knew that you were getting the contract?
Yes, I knew it, and I knew, and also knew that Michael is gonna get the contract, and I was very happy for him.
Now, following that, following getting the contract, what has the life been like for you right now? Are you starting? You're all over social media, a lot of people talking about you. Do you really feel a lot of attention right now?
No, I don't feel any tension. I really enjoy it, and I'm happy to be here. I accomplished my childhood dream. I started my career with the Edelbros with my team, and for them it's also the first time in the UFC, and I'm very proud and honored that I I I was able to make it into the UFC, and we made it together. with their help, and I'm just enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot.
We mentioned last time we talked to me, you mentioned that you want to represent both Austria and you want to represent Romania. When you get in the UFC, what has the reception been like from your Austrian and Romanian friends, family, fans? Is everyone freaking out?
So everybody is very proud. I got 99% of the messages are just positive, and they just tell me they are very proud. And the Romanians tell me they understand that I represent Austria because I built my career here. Everything that I earned in that sport, it's thanks to Austria and thanks to Ethelbros, to my coaches. And the people from Romania tell me I respect you, that you respect Austria, and I thank you that you also don't forget about us, about Romanians and about Romania. And I said, when I step into that octagon at my first UFC fight, I'm gonna have a double flag, so Austria and Romania here. So it's actually just good vibes from everywhere.
We talked about before the fight that to be a mixed martial artist, there's so many sacrifices. When you're fighting on the regional scene, the money isn't great. You have to pay to train. A lot of guys have kids, wives, full-time jobs just to support it. Now that you are in the UFC, do you really feel like all these sacrifices, it was worth all the trouble and pain that you had to go through to get here?
Yes, and I've even before I felt that it was worth it because everything you do in life builds you as a character, as a man. In our case, we are men, and I already was very thankful for everything that happened in my life and everything that I did in my career. And now that I'm in the UFC, it's just the cherry on the cake. So it's perfect. Now I don't care what's gonna happen. If of course now I have new dreams. Now I want to get into the top 15 in we will see when. But if that's the end, I'm happy. I get into the UFC, and that's it.
Does the goals change now? You touched upon it a little bit, but does the goals change now? Do you have to go back to the drawing board and now come up with some new goals now that you're in the UFC?
100%. So until now, I just wanted to get into the UFC, but now, um, especially after that war, I wasn't sure if I have a good chin after the Tom Nolan fight. After I got knocked out, it was the first knockout in 40 MMA fights, and was not even knocked down. But yeah, I was insecure about that, and now I know that I got a chin. Now I know that I got the condition. Now I know that I can fight with the best of the best in the world. I'm not thinking about top 15 now. Don't get me wrong. Let's do it step by step. But uh, now that the pressure is gone, I think I can perform much better. And with that being said, my place is there in the UFC.
There's so many great fighters in the UFC at 145. Obviously, you got the Alexander Volkanovskis of the world, the Ilya Topurias, the Max Holloways. The list goes on and on. Is it crazy to now think that, hey, there's a realistic possibility in the future I might be fighting some of these names?
To be honest, it doesn't feel that crazy because at first I didn't realize it. Now I don't realize it that I'm in the UFC for real. Maybe when I have the UFC gloves and I fight my first fight, but after that I belong there, and I have to think like that. But because if I think like, oh, top the top of the top, and then the mind is not on the right spot and I can perform at my fullest. So this is why I see it, like I try to see it as normal as possible.
It's crazy to see how many fights you already have. You have 40 mixed martial arts fights. There's guys who've even retired from the UFC that went out, won the belt, and all that. To even have that many fights, and you already have 40. One thing I want to ask you during the early days in your career, Did you have any crazy stories of maybe fighting mystery opponents? Maybe guys last minute fighting in locations like bars or outside or anything crazy?
Yeah, there are some crazy stories, but not in bars, not on the streets, because I had the luck to be in that team, the Ethel brothers, and they brought MMA to Austria. They are the MMA pioneers here, and they did their first MMA event here, 1997. So it was, yeah, they already had some good things done for the MMA. But I had fights with last minute opponents, especially the Austrian State Championship amateurs. But we fought without shin guards and with pro gloves. All my first 14 MMA fights at amateur was with pro gloves. So, and I had the first fight at the MMA Austrian MMA tournament. In the second fight, there was a guy from the lower weight class. He was a guy from Chechnya, and he said, "No, I want to go up because I want to fight him." And my coach told him, "Don't do that. It's not a good idea." "No, I'm better." And we did that, and I knocked him out in the first round. So that was a cool story.
So Austria's got another name that they can represent. Obviously, Alexander Rakic, Austrian fighter that's been in the UFC. You get to add your name as well. Are you two the only two UFC fighters from Austria? Are there more?
Actually, I'm the single one that is representing Austria. Alexander Rakic is now, since his last two fights, he's representing Serbia.
Okay.
So, yeah, we two are the only ones here.
Yeah, Rakic, is that a guy? Have you met him before? Were you able to do some training with him out in Austria?
No, we never trained together. I mean, he's a light heavyweight. He's much bigger. I'm featherweight. But I know him personally. He's a very respectful guy, a very kind human being, and he's taking care of his family. And I wish him all the best.
All right, so now you're in the UFC in a perfect world. We still got 4 months left of 2024. You want to have a couple UFC fights here to close up the year?
A couple, it's maybe too much said, but I already heard something that maybe December could be. So I'm gonna be ready in December, and we will see what UFC if they call me or not.
So obviously the Contender Series, you got to fight in the Apex, a little different than fighting in front of a crowd. Overall, how did you like that atmosphere? Much different. No walkout music, no introductions. Show up to the cage and you fight. How did you like that?
Uh, I don't think too much about those things. If I have a walk-in music or not, if there is a crowd or not, I just think about a single thing, single situation. My body versus another body, and my body has to shut down the other body. So I keep it simple.
So obviously some big names for the Contender Series. Obviously, you fought with some great guys who are now in the UFC as well. Dana White was in the house. Daniel Cormier was
Yeah.
commentating your fight. One of the greatest to do it. What was that experience like to be able to have Daniel Cormier and the rest of them commentate for you?
Well, I was in the warm-up area, and at one moment somebody touched me. "Hey, Bogdan!" And I looked. Daniel Cormier was like, "What the fuck?" Daniel Cormier, the man, is here. He asked me a couple of questions, what I think about my opponent, and we talked a little bit, and then I went straight to the fight. So it's a real honor for me to be surrounded by those people, by those legends. I watch UFC since, bah, I was 14 years old. So 14 years ago, I started watch UFC, and I'm so honored. And one more time, I can't believe it yet that I'm there, but I am very thankful for what I live.
One of my good friends, Malcolm Wellmaker, we were talking after the fight, And he was saying one thing that he thought was interesting is while he was fighting his opponent, he could hear the commentators talk. He's like, I could hear Daniel Cormier talking about me. Did you hear it as well? Could you hear him as you were fighting?
No, I couldn't hear him. I was in a tunnel, and I just saw Michael Aswell. I heard my coaches, and I went just fire. But that seems to me that Malcolm was much more relaxed, and we saw that he had a beautiful knockout. And wow, congrats to him on that way.
Before you got out there, were you keeping an eye on the other fights? Were you watching them in the locker room?
Normally I do it, but this time I just stayed in my energy. I just warmed up, talked with my coaches, we relaxed, and that was it.
So did you get to see Michael after the fight? Were you able to talk with him a little bit?
No, after the fight not, but we talked a little bit before the announcement of the result, and I told him I respect him, and I respected him also before the fight, and wish him all the best. He told me the same, and actually I messaged him on Instagram, and said I wish him all the best, and I hope he's healthy. And my fiance and my team also talked to his team, to his wife, I think, or girlfriend, I'm not sure, and they were very, very kind and very respectful, and I'm very happy that he's made it also into the UFC, and that he's surrounded by such good people like me. And I think that's the most important thing, uh, the people you are surrounded with.
Now obviously you get to go back to Austria, go back as a UFC fighter. Do you feel now, knowing that you've accomplished one of your goals, you're in the UFC? Do you feel now that you have more of a responsibility to help pay it back and help the kids, help the younger fighters who want to get to where you are as well?
Yes, 100%. I lived before like that, and I took care of what example I give to the people out there. But now even more. For example, I already got sponsorship offers from different companies, but what I will never do is get sponsorship from companies, from betting companies or from alcohol, because from alcohol and from betting and slot machines, people destroy their life, lose their family, and it happens so much bad things with those kind of yeah of things. And I'm not never gonna do that, and I'm always trying to be a good example for the younger generation and for everyone out there.
I know after the fight, you hung out in the US for a little bit. You went over to Los Angeles, hung out in California, then obviously came back to Austria. But when you're still in the US and even now, are you having people come up to you or anybody recognizing you from watching you on TV?
Um, I was in Las Vegas at Chris Angel's show from Mario Bart, the famous tattoo artist, made this possible for me, and I want to say thank you on this way. And Chris Angel said my name and said, "Hey, Bogdan Grad is here, and congrats for the UFC contract." And then a lot of people came to me and wanted to take a picture together. And also here, now I went for a walk in the city. A lot of people say, "Hey, congratulations, and please, can I take a picture?" So there is a changing in that, and I appreciate it from my heart.
You're wearing the shirt, you're wearing the hat for the Contender series. I mean, do you find that hard to take off right now? Are you wearing that wherever you go?
I love to wear it. Yes, it's hard to take it off. Now I can. Before that, I never. After the loss with Tom Nolan, I took the Contender series clothes and hat and put it in my room somewhere, and I didn't wear it. But now I feel I deserve to wear it. And I also never wear UFC t-shirts. I never liked that. I said when I'm gonna be in the UFC, I'm gonna wear it, but not now. And I have just one t-shirt with UFC, but I'm waiting to get the original ones, the ones with my name, and that those ones I'm gonna wear it with proudly.
You know, you mentioned Tom Nolan a couple times. Obviously, didn't go your way on the Contender series. He's in the UFC now. He's winning fights. Is this a name that you think you might have to face again, but in the UFC this time?
Oh, to be honest, no, I don't think, because he's a lightweight and he's very big. I don't think that he's gonna go down, and I'm not gonna go up. So that's gonna be it. But I respect him a lot, and I saw that he respects me also. He posted me in his story and said congrats, and we also had a couple of chats in the last months. And he's a very cool guy. I respect him. Wish him also all the best for his career. And yeah, that's about it. I had that was my one of the best lessons for me, um, in my whole career. The knockout that I got from him. So I got a lot of I got more mature, and I found to myself. Last year I was trash talking and tried to be a showman, but it's not me. And I went home and relaxed, and I found to my middle. I know I have to be myself. I'm respectful. I'm how you see me now, and that's it. This is why I mention him a lot, because he actually did a lot of good things for me with that knockout.
All right, Bogey, last question for you. We still got some time left in 2024, but in a perfect world, what do you want to accomplish the rest of the way? If it was up to you, what do you want to accomplish for maybe the next year here in the UFC?
So for the next 4 fights or the next year, I would like to have some beautiful knockouts and to get my contract extended. And who knows what's gonna happen with the rankings. But let's take it step by step. In a perfect world, I'm gonna step up in the rankings.
All right, Bogey, thank you so much for talking to me again, man. Congratulations once again. What an amazing fight. It's so amazing. You know, you had a very long journey in the world of mixed martial arts, a lot of fights, lots of ups and downs, and it's amazing to see you, my friend, here in the UFC.
That's crazy. Thank you very much, Carlo, for your time, for offering me the platform here. And I want to say some last words. I want to say thank you to my team. Thank you to my fiance for being on my side and believing in me, and also for thank you to everybody that is supporting me on this journey. I really appreciate it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is UFC fighter Mr. Bogdan Grad. I'm Carl Perusa. Stick around, fight fans.